Hey dude. So look, if you've clicked on this video, it is because you know that there's something that you should really forgive yourself for. Okay? Whether it's an action that you've made recently that is a mistake in, work, social sense, your personal life, and your habits. There is something that you feel confliction for, that you're feeling shame for and guilt. Look, I'm here to tell you that you don't need to be feeling that. Okay? Even if you have objectively made a poor choice, which I've made several of course, as everyone has. I'm here to remind you that the focus should not be kept on that negative emotion. Okay? You should be keeping your focus on, of course, moving forward, but on really learning, on the struggle it takes after that shame is what's taught me the most. Okay. So let's jump into it. So first of all, meat and potatoes, the key takeaway, okay? The thing to remember, if you're going to click off, just do it in an extra 10 seconds. The key thing is that shame that you feel, that guilt, there is nothing productive that is going to be coming from that emotion. In my experience, that shame or that guilt has never fueled a better decision down the line. It has been registered, it has been felt, and it has been, remembered and then felt again, but it's never the thing that actually enacts or inspires a change in the cycle for me. So forgive yourself, release that shame, and remember that you need to be you need to be moving in a direction you honestly feel that is better for you. Okay, so let's better get into it. So really what made me think about this and talk about it was tobacco. It was recently I rebought tobacco. A few weeks ago, it really was. I bought like a pouch of tobacco for the first time where you roll it and all yourself. And prior to then, I'd really just bought like packs of cigarettes on and off and hit the vapes on and off, and then had spent so long on the vapes and we're past that, and then onto the cigarettes and stuff, and just bunny hopping back and forth, back and forth. But when I bought this pack of tobacco, I just I felt so ashamed of myself. It was like building up in my head, boom, 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 do, 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 do. And I had been saying no to buying tobacco for like a couple of days. I had other opportunities. Obviously, it's everywhere, but I had other opportunities where I had time, and it would have been nice to smoke, and I didn't. And then a few days had passed, and I had more time, more opportunity, and I just couldn't turn it down. I just couldn't. I couldn't silence the voice in my head. So I ended up buying tobacco, and I felt guilty in asking for the pack, in tapping the card for the pack, and rolling the first cigarette and rolling the last cigarette. I felt guilty through all steps of the process. I never, like, I let myself enjoy it when I lit and smoked, and then I was like, oh yes, I am breathing in and out, and I am grounded, and I'm getting a bit of a head high, and all of those reasons to stay on the cigarettes. Um, so really with that guilt, like I said, I remember feeling the guilt or the shame about smoking every time before buying that pouch. As I was asking your woman, I remembered I was like, oh, you're gonna be feeling pretty crappy about this. And then as I was walking up the road with it in my hand, I was like, I kind of feel pretty crappy about this. And that shame never materialized itself into being like fuel for me to properly stop buying it. Like, I knew I would feel bad. I understood that I would feel bad, and I remember feeling bad the last time I did it. And yet, my brain was so great at reasoning to itself that the short term pleasures, the short term of having, a nice smoke in the sun, or going down to the beer garden, or just enjoying the therapeutic kind of in and out of the smoke. Whatever it was, my brain would just hammer it home that short-term pleasure was just like the highest thing, was the best thing. And although there was guilt, although there was shame, although all of that was because of the million consequences of smoking tobacco, I would still do it every time. Now, what did help, trying to transition into what actually helped me, um, when I had first properly kicked it for the first period or whatever with nicotine, what did help was the remembering the struggle and the sacrifice that I had to go through for like, a week and a half to quit cigarettes properly. It was remembering like the white knuckle of the first like 3-4 days of just your brain constantly telling you like go smoke, get some tobacco, and you just can't kick it. Um, then I would think about that initial 4 days, and I think about the days after it, and all the time I would have to put into, being mindful, trying to remain present, trying to remain just oh, not just like a slave to that calling constantly. So that is that's been on my mind recently, and I wanna remind you is that it is not just obviously a tobacco example I'm speaking of here, or even a habitual example. I don't just mean to only speak on examples of alcohol or nicotine or consumption. I do want and mean to speak generally. If you have made a mistake, if you made a social mistake where you said something you shouldn't have, or you've made a mistake in work, or if you've done something that you just generally feel guilt and shame over, and you're sitting in that emotion and you're letting that emotion just cloud over you and take over your day. I just want to stand here and remind you that it has been my experience that that is not beneficial. Certainly in terms of an emotional regulation point of view or an expression point of view, I'm not saying to keep everything inside and never cry or like that old man attitude or whatever. Obviously, feel your emotions, and if you've went through something exceptional, with grief and everything, that's obviously a different discussion. But specifically, in speaking that you have committed an action or failed to commit an action, and you're holding yourself accountable to that, you're feeling really bad about that. I just thought you could use this reminder, mate, that at the end of the day, it is not that feeling of guilt or shame that's going to help you, okay? It's the lesson that you learn in the struggle after this guilt and shame, and learning, why I shouldn't have made that mistake, or how I can better direct myself for the future. So again, to wrap up, I would say work to build your environment to support you. So whatever the direction you want to go in. And again, I'll stick with the nicotine just because it's here and it's been my experience. But for me, what building your environment or systems to support the right direction looks like is going to the shop once a day instead of multiple times. Having a list to say, like, I need to get this stuff for the household, I need to grab dinner, I need to grab something for my lunch, and then going down and just getting it all at one point instead of giving myself 3 or 4 different opportunities at which I could buy the thing that I'm not wanting to not buy. I'm wanting to avoid. Limiting your systems, or sorry, limiting your opportunity and your access to the thing that you want to avoid through systems. So again, like going to the self-checkout instead of going to the regular till, because you need to go to the regular till to ask them to hand you all the tobacco products, that type of thing. Or again, if your thing has been a mistake in work, like you're unfocused in work, or maybe you got a bit too loose on the Friday night drink and you said some stuff you shouldn't have, maybe create some systems that are better for that. Have a limit where you cut yourself off, or book a taxi early in the night and then you have to go at that taxi time, or maybe just say, nah, that's not something I can actually partake in because I know myself a bit too well and I'm not giving myself the best opportunity to really succeed. So yeah, look guys, that's been some thoughts around shame, around guilt, and around moving past that negativity. Again, it's never in my experience really been worth it. Other than the sole purpose of just feeling and expressing what you're feeling honestly with yourself, which is obviously positive. If you find that you're sitting in that shame, sitting in that guilt because of a mistake that you made, remember, you're going to learn so much more. What you're really going to reflect on is the struggle that you go through after this shame, the learning period of getting better. That is going to be what fuels you to stay in that right direction going forward. It's not going to be that shame itself. So just remember that. All right. Look, thank you all for listening. If you're new here and you've listened all the way through, I'm extremely proud of you. I'm Adam Dean. I am a writer and I suppose a YouTuber and a podcaster and all that fun business. Go ahead and check out more on the Adam Dean channel. I have very similar discussions to this on the An Attempt to Understand podcast. And as well as that, I write on Substack under An Attempt to Understand. So Yes, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a great day forward, and let me know in the comments if you're related to this, if you've been feeling anything similar recently, or if you've went through anything like that in the past, and any of this sounds similar to what helped yourself. Thank you very much once more for watching, and again, hope you have a terrific day. Bye bye.